Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Coscast. Now today, I have another great guest as always, because we only bring great guests to this show. This guest I think is going to be interesting because this is a different aspect from not just a streamer, but his sideline that we're going to get into. I think there will be a lot of juicy information that you'll be able to take from this episode that will help your general well-being and your general health, mental and physical, which I don't think we've had in a guest yet. Not to I hope, an expert level, which we will get into. Today, I bring you ADF RP. Hello, mate.
How are you?
I'm very, very good. How are you?
I'm very good, mate. I'm very good. Cannot complain, mate, at all.
I kind of want to get into straight away. I want to go into the side hustle.
Okay.
And then we will revert to the streaming, because I think you have your business, your income, and then streaming is a sideline.
Yes, it is. Yeah, 100%. So for those who obviously don't know, my main hustle, full-time aspect is I'm a PT, a personal trainer. Do it pretty much most days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. So I do it 5 days a week pretty much, or Saturday's normally half day, so it's probably about 4.5 days, but for the most part it takes up most of my time. And then obviously the streaming side of things is obviously on the back burner, to the side of it a little bit.
So have you got clients maxed out on them days, have you?
It varies, definitely varies. So majority of days I'm probably doing around about anywhere between 6 and 8 sessions a day.
Wow.
But I also teach classes as well. So I'd normally teach, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 classes a week as well on top of that. So it is quite long, and it can be quite long, but I absolutely love it.
And how long have you been doing that?
So originally, full-time PT, and I've been doing it about 2.5, almost 3 years now. But prior to that, I never knew what I wanted to do, to be honest. I've always been involved in like sport, playing rugby, kind of football, all that sort of thing. Always been interested in fitness ever since growing up. And then as I went into uni, I actually went to uni in Liverpool, out of all places. Great place, love it. I kind of fell into it a little bit more. The degree I did was sport and physical education, so it was kind of half kind of coaching and almost like PE teacher vibe, which I wasn't a massive fan of. And then the other half was all about kind of the body, how it works, everything in between. And then whilst I was over there, I actually happened, because I was in the rugby team, to be the strength and conditioning coach for the rugby team. And then unfortunately I did my last year during COVID, so it was a really, really like just rubbish time to do dissertation and stuff. And I thought, right, well, I've done my 3 years, got my degree. I thought, do I really want to do a master's after being through COVID and probably repeat it? Probably not. So I ended up coming back to where I am now, which is kind of East Midlands area. And then I just kind of fell into it. I started doing a bit more self-employed PTing, and then from there I actually picked up the job where I am now, which is David Lloyd. So now, yeah, basically full time.
Do you join in these sessions, or do you have your own sessions where you train as well alongside?
Yeah, so the PT sessions I don't join in. Obviously, I show them the exercises, the form, technique, everything like that. But for the most part, it's all about them. It's all about them. It's all about their goals, making sure they're doing it right, everything in between. The classes is where I actually get involved a little bit more, but I also have to fit in my own sessions whilst I can or when I can, which sometimes can be really, really tricky.
Now, for someone that's heavy in the fitness, because I'm going to make a hell of an assumption, which I'm sure is pretty correct. Most gamers, streamers, probably do not go to the gym, myself included. Now, can we, for the viewers, could you explain, like, generally how you feel being out and about and the benefits to people for getting there and going there? Can you convince me to go to the gym?
Well, we'll see, won't we? In all honesty, like, whether it's from my own personal view, from my client's view, because a lot of the clients I have are people that are sitting at desks most of the day, in offices, in wherever they are, whether they're a teacher or whatever. They all have somewhat of a sedentary job or sedentary lifestyle, let's say, for example, they might not even have dogs, so they might not even not go walking. They all say the same thing, that they don't get out, they're not very active, but then they turn around and say to me, I've got back pain, I've got this, I'm overweight, I need to lose weight, so on and so forth. And then the first session I always have with them is always a bit like a consultation. So I basically just get to know them, and I get to know the bigger picture of what they're wanting. So then I can then obviously see the bigger picture, so I can kind of go down the scopes that work for them. Everyone's always different as well. I mean, let's say, I don't know, Kevin, he is overweight, sits down all day, doesn't really walk, doesn't have a dog. Whereas you've got someone like, I don't know, Sophie, she's fairly active. She can walk, she does get some steps in, but she's still not losing weight. Like, this completely different. And I think sometimes that's where people get it slightly wrong. Almost some people think you've got to have the same thing for everyone, or the same kind of formula. It's so different. Every client always different, but for the most part, most of my clients that will come to me and have had that sedentary lifestyle, as soon as they just start being a little bit more active again, it might be something as simple, and sometimes I do this with people, is their average steps a day, for example, which sometimes obviously I have on an Apple Watch or your phone, might be 2,500 steps a day, which in the grand scheme of things is naffle. For the most part, I just go, right, okay, there's no point me turning around and going, right, let's do 10k steps a day straight away, because that is just so unrealistic. To go from 2,500 to 10,000 in one day is just nuts. So I just try and get them to do realistic goals. So it might be they try and get to 3,500, get comfortable with that, and then they go again and go maybe a little bit higher, or so on and so forth, or getting into swimming or anything between. But for the most part, they all say the same thing. As soon as they've been into the idea of getting healthier, getting fitter, being more active, or maybe just being a little bit more active, but dialing in on their food a little bit more, or being a little bit more self-aware, they say concentration increases massively. They feel more energized. They don't get like brain fog or feel really fatigued or tired and everything in between. And it actually, in the grand scheme of things, makes them work more, work better, and be more productive in their work lives as well. So it is a massive benefit. And what I always say to people is, you'll get the physical benefits. The physical benefits tend to take a little bit longer, naturally, but the mental benefits and the mindset, like, it will be like that. It will almost be like within the first 3 or 4 days, you'll notice a difference in terms of how your mind feels, massively. And they say it's that feel good factor of, if you've been in the gym, or you've gone to the gym because you've been stressed, or someone's annoyed you or anything, as soon as you finish that session, you feel like 10 times better than what you were before.
And what would you personally recommend to someone? Let's say we have a viewer that, like you say, you set realistic goals straight away. You don't jump to 10,000 because you know it's not sustainable. Someone's not, they're defeated before they start. What would you recommend to someone that, let's say, plays video games all day, someone that doesn't go outside? What would you start to get someone going? Someone that could potentially watch this and go, I'm going to do that. What would you recommend to ease someone into just a little bit, the baby step?
You know what, and it helps that I'm kind of in this at the moment.
It does, which is why I'm asking you these questions, because I know
it works massively.
Even myself, I mean, you know how many hours I do and what I do, but there'll be a lot of people. So I mean, it's very interesting because we get comfortable, don't we? We've got lovely chairs, lovely warm rooms. It's cold.
True, very true.
From someone from a professional opinion, what would you suggest to someone to get out and get active that would make their brain go, I don't know, I'm going to go and do 1,000 steps right now in the cold?
Yeah, everyone's mindset is different, but one thing I've noticed, obviously, is now doing the streaming side of things, and like, obviously, I streamed this morning about 5 hours or so. 5 hours a day, pretty much gone, and it goes so quick. You don't even think about it. But in those, obviously, 5 hours, you're sat down in your chair, like majority of it. So little ways I try and incorporate it is, every so often I just get up and I say to chat, right, chat, I'll be right back. Give me 5 minutes, so on and so forth. And for the most part, probably people think, oh, I don't know, he's going for the toilet or or whatever. But actually, for the most part, I might be maybe getting a little bit of a snack, but I'm also like stretching or like just moving, getting some form of a movement in. So like I'll probably go downstairs and just do a load of kind of dynamic stretches and just keep myself nice and limber. Because when you sat down in a chair all day, it does have an effect on your body. So most people don't know, but one thing I specialize in at work is back pain. I've always been really kind of intrigued by it and what causes it and stuff like that. But for the most part, stuff that causes like lower back pain is actually your legs and like your hips. Whereas a lot of people think, oh, my lower back's killing me, it's my back that's the issue. But for the most part, it's not. It's actually because you sat down all day, so your kind of quads and your hamstrings are starting to kind of pull in different ways. Your hips are starting to stay fixated, so they're not getting mobile, so they're not supporting kind of the spine and the base of the back as well. Also, it can be as well that the glutes, the hamstrings, your quads, and just your legs in general aren't as developed as they need to be. So they end up being, they're not activating as well as they should be or engaging. So they actually need strengthening up at the same time. So this is why whenever I'm in a chair or for a while, I make sure I get up, I stretch, I try and stay as limber as possible. Because at the end of the day, if you're able to move better, you'll be able to perform better, whether that is getting in out of bed or staying in the seat or doing whatever you're doing. I mean, movement is key to a lot of things, and especially as a streamer, trying to get some form of movement in is so beneficial. If you know you're going to be early morning, like myself, doing like, I don't know, 7 till 12, for example, I'm probably not going to get anything before that. So making sure that I do some form of exercise after that is a key aspect. Or likewise, I know obviously everyone will know like Tommy, so on and so forth. They stream a little bit later in the afternoon, so they can probably get it all in the morning, which I do actually know that Tommy does do because I speak to him quite a lot about it. So it goes a long way just to get some form of movement in, to kind of offset being sat in the chair for hours on end.
How with early streams that you do, because you're quite an early bird, how do you find the level of enthusiasm after a stream? Because you'll know yourself, if you're gaming for 5 hours, your dopamine is probably zero. Your enthusiasm is zero. How do you find it ending stream to then go and do activity?
It's a good question. Very good question, actually. It varies, to be honest, and I'll openly admit, like, it is my job and it's something that I'm very passionate about. But like I say, even after doing 5-6 hours on stream, sometimes you have to really kind of kick yourself and go, no, like, I actually really need to do this, for my own benefit. So it comes down to a little bit more like motivation more than anything else, or discipline, essentially. And the first couple of times doing it, you probably will be like, nah, sod that, I'm not doing that. But the more you just try at it and just build into it, even if you just go like walk around the block, or just like walk, I don't know, like a mile or to the shop or whatever, it's still something, still some form of movement. And yeah, sometimes for me, and I'll openly admit it, I'll go in the gym, I'll go wherever, and I walk in, I'm like, I really can't be bothered. Like, motivation's low, because especially for me, what I find is because I'm in that situation most days training people. Sometimes you're there, you're like, do I really want to be lifting myself? Because I've been in here for about 6 hours lifting it with other people. Like, sometimes it can be quite draining, but as soon as I get into it, I'm like, sweet, headphones on, music's on, I'm in my zone, I'm sweet, and then I'm saying afterwards.
I think a good trick is that I'm yet to study is set yourself a goal to just turn up at the gym. So don't plan a workout. And worst case, if you're really struggling, allow yourself to go home at the worst, but set your goal to just turn up. And I think it'd be a good test for a lot of people. Just say, 100%. Right, as long as, and I think once you're there, you'll go, oh, fuck it, I'm here now. And then if you're having a really shit day, you can go, well, at least I still went. Do you know what? And I know that's kind of backwards, but you're then forming the habit of going there, aren't you? For people 100%. That may struggle, and especially gamers, because gaming will deplete anything in your brain that will help you motivate to do anything productive. I suffer with it myself a lot. And then not to mention if you've got anything else like along the lines of ADHD or anything like that, you're going to be completely depleted. So I think it's very, very tough to be able to get the motivation to step away from a computer, which is, I'm sure a lot of people severely struggle with that.
Oh, I agree, 100%. And like you say, that little bit of like a checklist or a tick list of just going like, look, I've turned up. A lot of the times I see that as well. But once they've started ticking it off, maybe 3 days a week, it might be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. They've done it one week. They're like, okay, oh, I can do it then. I can do it the next week, and then they tick that off, and then all of a sudden it just creeps into just a constant habit that you don't even have to worry about it eventually. And it kind of comes back to I mentioned earlier, those realistic goals. Just like you say, just ticking that one thing. Might be it might be obviously turning up. It might be drinking 1 liter of water. Whatever you fancy, might be the tiniest thing, but the more you do it, it's going to create into better habits. Like smaller steps create bigger steps at the end of the day. So if you're able to create those little habits going forward, it will help you tremendously. God, yeah.
I think like especially like gaming is a very tough one, isn't it? Because gaming is it's a habit. It's not necessarily a good one either, because you can end up doing it for hours, and it's artificial entertainment. But you can also, it will also breach out to other habits. It's like a gateway, isn't it? Because if you're really, really enjoying your game, you're feeding that addiction, that habit. But when that game starts to sack off, you're going to carry on, but you're going to look to other sources as well, which is, you have to be really, 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 really disciplined, really self in check to maintain that. And especially if you do it as a job, which I'm sure a lot of people will understand, it's very tough, very, very tough to maintain that kind of. Let's go on to like a nutrition side, and I want to aim this for gamers. I mean, a lot of people that watch this are viewers, streamers, and players, gamers.
Yep.
Or nutrition side of thing. Again, this is another thing. I'm sure a lot of gamers eat like shit, drink like shit. Streamers don't have the time to eat. You step away from your computer, your viewers are gone, the retention's gone. What would you recommend to people? So let's, for example, let's look at someone, let's say someone who starts at 11 p.m. until 10 p.m. So you've missed your lunch, you've missed your dinner. From your professional opinion, what is a person going to do in that time frame?
It all comes down to prep. It all comes down to making sure you've got things kind of ready, secure, and are quick, realistically. Because let's face it, when we're streaming, when we're playing, whether it is an RP, whether it's Rocket League or FIFA, you can't sit here with a curry in front of you eating it. It just doesn't work. It's not the same. Whereas if you've got something kind of small, quick, convenient that you could probably do with and eat at that same time and it not really affect you, it goes a long way. So for example, something I tend to do, it's quite quick, convenient, you can literally make it like so easy, is stuff like wraps. I'm a big fan of wraps. Everyone always kind of goes, oh, it's carbs, it's this, that, and the other. But for the most part, it's filling. If you put the right stuff in it, it's really nutritious for you. So whether that's maybe some chicken with, I don't know, peppers, lettuce, whatever you fancy, you can make a quite quick, convenient wrap that you can just eat on the stream. Obviously, having other stuff like maybe bananas, a bit of fruit, but that is the most part, like just making sure you have those kind of quick, convenient stuff to fuel you. Because, like you say, there's no way you can go down and start cooking a curry on stream because you'll just lose all your viewers.
Yeah, unless you take them with you.
Well, yeah, they might even want to do that, to be fair. Which I'm pretty sure someone like OGB would probably get away with, to be fair. But someone like myself.
Abdul does cooking YouTube videos. I don't know if he does streams.
I've never seen that.
Yeah, I don't know. He was promoting it for a while, but I don't know if he does. But yeah, he does cook. I have a feeling that his missus is the brains behind it. But no, he mentioned it on the podcast. I'm sure. Yeah, he does cooking streams on YouTube.
No, I didn't know that. But yeah, it's got to be quick. It's got to be convenient. Do you know what I mean? Like, and you've got to enjoy it. Like, I always say to people, I always have this question asked is, what's the best diet? I need to lose weight. I need to do this, that, and the other. To put it plain and simple, the best diet for anyone is the one that you can stick to and you can adhere to, and it works for you. Everyone's always different. So a lot of people go, right, I'm off the keto diet. I'm only eating fats and proteins. I'm just doing the carnivore diet, so on and so forth.
Surely that is it. The keto diet, is it? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Surely that's not good for you.
The thing is with that, so it's a lot of protein. So what most people don't realize is protein takes longer to digest than carbs and fats. So it makes you feel fuller for longer, plain and simple. I mean, a prime example, if you've ever had a mixed grill from the pub, it's a lot of protein, it's a lot of meat. You feel full for a while because it takes longer to digest, because it's got to go into the bloodstream and then to the muscles, whereas carbs and fats kind of just sit there in the stomach and obviously just digest it. So to put it plain and simple, if you had a mixed grill, you'd feel fairly full. If you had, I don't know, a carbonara, give it 30, 40 minutes, you'll probably feel fairly hungry again. And that's kind of an easy way for people to kind of wrap their heads around it. But the keto diet is just fats and protein. Like it cuts out all carbs. So whenever people do this, and it's always interesting to me when I hear people say, "Oh, I've been dieting." I'm like, "Okay, cool. What have you been doing?" And they're like, "Oh, well, I've cut out all carbs. I don't really eat fats. I don't eat this and this, that, and the other." I'm just like, well, in that case, and you're missing out on a lot of nutrients, a lot of vitamins that you actually do need. Carbs are our main fuel source for energy.
Yeah.
Yes, obviously it's filling.
Don't they do a lot of water retention as well with carbs, which you need?
Yeah. So the more carbs you tend to eat, you tend to hold on to a little bit more water.
Yeah.
Naturally. So naturally, obviously the keto diet is good because as soon as you cut out the carbs, you're going to drop a load of water weight. So that's why most people think I've got to cut out carbs. For the most part, I say to people, like, look, you need carbs in your system for energy. You need protein, obviously, for muscle recovery, as well as other things. And you need fats in your system as well. But it's whatever works for you. It's whatever diet is, whatever food works for you. Technically, if you're coming about weight loss and you're going about weight gain, it all comes down to this plain and simple thing of it's calories in versus calories out.
Yeah. If you're in, as far as I'm aware, I think everyone makes it so complicated. And you might be able to help me out here. And I think you've just said it. If you're in a calorie deficit, you're going to lose weight. Yep. If you're in an overload, you're going to gain weight. And okay, you can really, in the deficit, you can help out with what you eat massively. Yeah. Like veg is like little calories, but will fill you up. But it's that simple. I mean, as long as you are going into a calorie deficit, you will lose weight.
100%.
And everyone seems to make it so ridiculous.
Yeah, they do. 100%.
And deep down, it's not. It's just, if you want that chocolate bar, eat it as long as you don't go over. So if
100%.
If your intake's 2,500 and you drop down to, I don't know, 2,100 to maintain being healthy, you're just going to chip away nice and slowly. It's that simple.
It is. It's just calories in, calories out. One thing I always say to people is, this is the other thing as well, actually, that's just sprung into my head, is people go, I need to lose weight. Got to be in a calorie deficit. They get that. But what they don't understand is they drop the calories too low too soon.
Yeah.
So let's say my maintenance is 2,000 calories just to maintain my weight and just maintain kind of what I'm doing. I would have to be below that to then be in a deficit. A lot of people then go, cool, I'm going to eat 1,300 calories. That's a 700 calorie deficit. That's massive. And for the most part, if you have been eating right in general and been eating around your maintenance, you'll start to lose weight fairly quickly. But it'll drop down and then it'll just start to plateau. Whereas in reality, what you need to be doing is maybe being in like a 250 to 300 calorie deficit and just let it trickle down gradually. That's so much more sustainable and more enjoyable, because if you've been eating 2,000 calories every single day to then restricting yourself to 1,200, it will be like you're starving yourself.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the end of the day, calorie deficit. Let's say my deficit was 1,700. I could eat 1,700 calories full of chocolate, donuts, whatever I fancy, and I'd still lose weight.
And yeah, I didn't want to say that because I'm an uneducated guess, but it is that simple, isn't it? It's
Essentially, yeah.
as long as you can eat shit, but as long as you're coming up, you'll probably be fucking starving still. But
Oh, 100%. Because obviously the calories are completely different than the vitamins are completely different. And obviously the macro and micronutrients are completely different. You probably eat 1,700 calories of chocolate, donuts, all that sort of stuff, but you'll still feel really, really full because there's no nutritional benefit in it, realistically. Whereas if you had 1,700 calories of good amount of protein, veg, your fats, everything in between, you'd feel a lot fuller, mainly because of the protein as well. But you'll get a lot more benefit out of it. But if you have a bit of a blend of both, it's absolutely fine.
I think a real big shocker for people that might not notice is liquid calories, isn't it? Drinks.
Yeah, big.
I find I'm no way a health freak, but I find calories really interesting.
Yeah.
You look at a full can of Coke. If you knock down 6 of them, fuck me, you've had a full dinner.
Yeah, literally, not even wrong.
It's nuts how many calories, and I think that's why like you get a lot of it around the gut, especially from like fluids. Is just sugar and shit like that. But yeah, drinks is a huge intake, and that's one people can neck drinks, and whether it's cans of Coke, Monster, beer's horrendous.
Beer's bad for it.
You neck loads of them. You have a big dinner and neck loads of drinks. You've doubled it straight away.
Oh, easily. I mean, a prime example, right, is the other day. So for myself, so I had a family meal and we went for a bit of a carvery. And I'm one of these people. I'm a big foodie, like regardless of being a PT and everything in between. I'm a big foodie. So we've gone to this carvery. Me being the person I am, and I've always been since I was younger, is I always see the plate and I'm like, I'll whack it on, absolutely just whack it on, see with my eyes, not even think about how I'm going to feel afterwards. Like free meats, all the veg, like whatever it is on it. And then I also for a drink. So realistically, I'm a bit weird like this. I've always said I'll have water if I'm going to be drinking. If I'm going to be eating a big meal, because it's going to help with the digestion. It won't fill you up, etc. like that. But on the Sunday, I actually found out I'm going to be an uncle, which was quite a really nice surprise. So I was like, you know what, I'll have a beer. I'll just have a beer of it. And oh my God, obviously the beer is so gassy, it just bloated me up. And I was like, I can't eat it. I can't eat this because I just feel so full and full of gas and everything. Oh, it was awful. But liquid calories has a massive difference. I mean, for someone who is like addicted to drinking Coke or full fat Coke, for example, the easiest switch to like Diet or Coke Zero. Like it's still Coke, but it probably will knock off a good 150 to 200 calories that not a lot of people realise.
And Pepsi Max is a good one as well. And a lot of people are on Pepsi Max, which is a great alternative. We all crave something sugar, sweet.
Oh God,
again, especially in this environment, you get so. But yeah, so for people that want to change things up, like I'm sure you could recommend is like you just did, go to zero, stuff like that. These what are these monsters like? If you go for I know Monster's awesome because you can actually get a lot of alternatives that are sugar free now. If you get one that's not, fuck me. Like
I only ever have the Monster Ultras if I do drink them.
I've got a Red Bull here, which is full. What's this?
I don't like Red Bull for the life of me, though.
Mate, this new Winterberry one is lovely.
Is it?
250
I've never been a fan,
ml.
you know. I've just never been a fan. I'm a Monster person, definitely. I know Furphy's bad for monsters, isn't he?
Most people that go to the gym always have that white Monster, don't they? It's always...
you know what? You're making the joke, but it's so true because like for so long that was my favorite one as well.
I don't know what. Have you ever heard of Demon Dean at all on social media? Yeah, so he's this guy from Wales who's big into his fitness. He does awesome videos as well. You probably really like him, but he'll be in his car and he'll do his video. His pre-workout is God knows what he puts in. He puts in like powder of pre-workout, this gluco thing, and he doesn't mix it with water. It's a white Monster. And he does that every day. The man must be off his absolute tits.
Oh, he will be. Like, he will be getting the jitters, the shakes, the fucking everything. His heartbeat will be going like the clappers, basically.
I've seen people at the gym as well. Like, they'll have their bags and they've got a white Monster, a coffee, and I'm like,
I just can't do it, mate. I don't do it.
I'm like, Jesus Christ! Like,
no, the only pre-workout I'll ever have is just Monster, and that's a rarity, really.
I kind of think when you get to that stage, you're going for artificial energy, and you could probably find that source of energy elsewhere. If you're lacking from it and you need I mean, I'm a fucking shit advocate for this information right now, but you look at people that need this energy, you think like that. I can imagine the jitters and the shake. I've had pre-workout once and I thought I was going to the moon. I thought I was about to go to Mars and chill with Elon Musk for half an hour.
Yeah. I've been the same, mate. I'm not a fan of it at all.
It must be on the borderline of cocaine. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, probably. But to be fair, there's a person who I work with. She's not a PT or anything like that, but she's addicted, like severely addicted to energy drinks, like to the point of where her desk is. She's got a drawer at the bottom of the desk that is literally just full of Monsters and Lucasades and stuff like that. And like, she'll easily go for about 3 a day, easy. And I'm like, I don't know how you do it. Really, and it's not even just like the ultra ones, which is obviously a little like less sugar and stuff. It's like the full, like the black canned Monsters.
Yeah.
That is just full of sugar and just make you couldn't do it, mate.
You mentioned something about vitamins. Now this is another thing for the viewers. So let's say someone that spends a lot of time in a bedroom, not much light source. What is there vitamins you could professionally recommend for people to get?
So the ones I tend to take for that sort of stuff, if you're not getting out a lot, is stuff like vitamin D3, that sort of stuff. Obviously, vitamin D, your main source is getting it from like the sunlight.
Yeah.
Obviously, being in the UK, we're a little bit shy on some sun sometimes. That was a tongue twister. So yeah, vitamin kind of D3 is a nice one to do. Any sort of multivitamin is normally okay, where it's in tablet form. I know some, I think like Holland and Barrett and that do like gummies. But for the most part, just getting your vitamins in. So vitamin D, multivitamins maybe, for example. And then going, I'm not a massive person in terms of saying supplements go to like tablets specifically, because ideally we would want to get them from our actual food sources themselves.
100%, yeah, 100%.
So it's a rarity that I go down that route. But like the certain stuff I actually haven't used in a while actually is multivitamins, vitamin D3, turmeric and black pepper, which is quite good for your joint health. Cod liver oil, for example. I'm seeing actually because they're right next to me. Calcium and zinc and stuff because they're right there. So that sort of stuff, but I don't tend to use it a lot.
I think for gamers, like a pill format is going to be very handy. Like you say, your ideal source will be food. One, healthy food's fucking expensive, and two, going back, a healthy meal 9 times out of 10 takes time, stuff like that. So yeah, I think it'd be good for the viewers to look into a quick way to do things. I'm sure people watch this, spend a lot of time at home.
Yeah.
We know that if you're watching this, you're a consumer of content. So some people might necessarily work from home a lot. So I think the advice passed on could be very helpful to people. And I'm sure they'll let us know in the comments whether they struggle with stuff like that.
I'm sure they will, definitely.
I know myself. I've got my vitamins that I take. I try to. I know myself. I spend a lot of time in here. Not much light. It's very tough. Very tough. Like you say, brain fog is tough when it comes in, brain rot, brain fog, and stuff like that. And when it kicks in, it's ruthless, absolutely ruthless.
Definitely can be. I mean, like you just mentioned, obviously the sunlight, and I see obviously your curtains are drawn. Same thing with me. As soon as I'm gaming, especially in the morning, obviously because I'm doing it in the morning, as soon as the sunlight starts coming through, it's like blinding me. I'm like, right, they're getting short. But
I've actually recently started opening more. But I have a green filter on my camera. Actually, no, it's not on this because I'm not using OBS, so it would work right now. But no, I've got a green plant on my window. So if I open that, my plant goes black. But I have started doing that recently. It's just opening that. Give me whatever you can. Give me whatever you can. Just to help out a huge amount. Andrew Huberman, you ever watched his stuff? Andrew Huberman, the
I haven't
podcast.
actually.
Oh,
no, I haven't actually.
He's really, 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 really good. Really good advice from him. But like one thing I think he does is as soon as he wakes up, he says, "Get outside immediately. Open your curtains straight away. Get outside. Get that sunlight in." There was a big thing in COVID where they sent out thousands of vitamin D pills because people were struggling so much.
Yeah, definitely.
And we're kind of still in a similar time now, even though the COVID's not as bad. A lot of people are working from home and not getting out and stuff like that. So I think vitamin D is a very, very big one. It must be big for the government or the NHS to send out tons and tons of pills for it.
I can imagine how much, to be fair, but it makes a world of a difference. I mean, even now, it's to the point where when I go to sleep, I leave the curtains open.
Yeah.
So I wake up to the natural light and it coming through. So it's quite a nice feeling where I think a lot of people not criticize that or just find it really odd that I do that. But actually, I find it so much better.
It's good. It's a good alarm clock as well, isn't it? As long as you get to bed at a good time, a natural light is a very good alarm clock because it will beam in, and it's a good way to get up. Good way to try and be healthy.
Although this morning I didn't really get that because I was supposed to have my alarm go off at 7. I woke up not to my alarm, but to like the rain. It was like hail or rain or something. It sounded like it was about to come through the window. I just remember waking up, thought I was being like bombed or shot at or something. I jumped out of my skin a little bit, but no, just that simple hack of if you're not getting that much vitamin D or anything like that, it's a nice little wake up call.
Now to move on with like your streaming, should we call it a career or a hobby? Is it more of a hobby?
I guess it's a little bit of both now because it definitely was a hobby to begin with, but then now in these last couple of months, it's picked up and picked up and picked up. So I guess it's a little bit of both right now.
And do you incorporate work with pleasure? Like I suppose I'm kind of looking straight onto a bigger picture here. Do you plan on doing online fitness, or is your plan to keep it completely separate? This is your chill time.
So I actually was doing for a while online coaching as well. So I haven't done it in a while because like my actual one-to-one aspect kind of just started to blow up. And then on top of the streaming and stuff as well, sometimes you just don't have the time to do it. But yeah, I was doing online coaching, so it was a matter of having like weekly check-ins with people. I'd normally kind of go over their sheets or their program, do a bit of a video so they can see like what I'm changing, why I'm changing it, if they've got any questions, and so on and so forth. So I was doing that for a while as well, but that's kind of died off since everything else has just basically picked up.
And we had a conversation before we went live, which, as always, I stopped very quickly. You're in time too now, surrounded by big streamers, and like you said, you try and focus on the morning streams.
Yeah.
Now,
100%.
in your opinion, what benefits do you see from doing morning streams nice and early?
So, as we all know, obviously, or people might not know at the moment, obviously, I am in time too. I play a character called Clay J, or a lot of people know him as Clay the Raccoon. And I'm in the Moist Boys. Obviously, surrounded by big streamers. I mean, you've got Abdul. Well, you did have Abdul, should I say? Maybe not anymore. But Abdul, Shano, obviously Tommy, Beetle, big names. Obviously Ginge when he was in it. So really, really big names with a lot of viewership. So for me, it was like, how am I gonna make this work while still being in and around those people at the same time? So what I soon realized was doing evening late streams, even though that tends to be when everything is chaotic, because everyone's in, the server's booming, everything in between. In terms of viewership, it dwindles a little bit because everyone's got 200-300 viewers, and obviously I'm very new to RP. This is technically my first city time to RP, so I'm still relatively new. I'm still learning, so I might not be as entertaining to some people in that sense. So I thought to myself, right, okay, well, when I can, I'll go mornings, because in reality, the only people that really people that stream in the mornings now are myself, Shano, seen Mr. Fumbles, and Spudman as well. And what I have found is if I start earlier than them, which at the moment I do, I can hold and kind of maintain kind of anywhere between 20-30 viewers and max out maybe like 50-60. And then when the likes of Shano start like waking up and obviously starting their stream, it might dwindle a little bit in terms of viewers, but for the most, it kind of stays the same. It's quite nice actually with Spudman, and in the fact that if Shano's not live and he's live with me, we kind of almost split the viewers like 50-50 a little bit. So it is quite nice, but I've just found that the morning streams work better for viewership, for engagement, and everything in between. So
I like the morning streams myself because I think there's more time to bond and have a chill with your community.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Nighttime's very chaotic. I feel people are, I wouldn't say more productive at night, but more distracted. There's more streams, there's more stuff going on, dinner, tidying. During the day, you've got people either chilling or you've got people working, and they're not looking to be distracted, but they will follow the distraction.
Yeah,
I myself have started to enjoy the mornings as well, because like you say, I think you have a lot of time to chill. It's chilled. Evening streams, I often think aren't. That's when chaos comes about, especially yourself in the environment that you're in. That's when the chaos comes in, which is great entertainment.
Oh, it is, but sometimes it's stress beyond belief. Obviously, I love the boys to absolute pieces, and I think I've mentioned it sometimes in calls with Abdul and so on and so forth. We are very much the Moist Boys, that is anyway. We're very much like a family. It's not just like a gang. So if one of us is in beef, we're all in beef, like regardless. Like we all will just back the beef instantly. Like I think, for example, Howie, for example. I don't know if you ever met Howie in City.
Yeah.
He's a good kid. He's obviously he means well, but he's very like quick to get his gun out straight away. So I can't remember what happened last. It was like last week, and who was it? Oh, it was Jakey Davies. I can't remember what his character is. Is it Liam Gallagher he plays?
No, Noel Gallagher, I think.
No, that's it. Yeah, he came over to the block, our new block, obviously, which is from the firm, and he was just saying stuff to Fumbles or something like that, and Fumbles, I think, just jokingly went, "Oh, just shoot him." Like jokingly, and all of a sudden you just see Howard just go turn out and bang the straight, popped him straight in the head, and we were just all there like, well, he was meaning that by joke, but we understand that he stood on business, so fair play. And we obviously just took him to the hospital and stuff. But it's you have to back the beef. Obviously, with Moist, it's just chaos. More so, maybe not as much now, because obviously we've branched off, kind of from Abdul and Salim and Yusuf, which are just creatures of chaos. So it's not as stressful, but there still are their stresses where it's like in gang, not beef necessarily, or it's just like
conflict.
Yeah, and just like disagreements and stuff like that. But it's always on.
I've always found like it's crazy how stressful a video game can be, but I don't think you can help it.
No, yeah, true.
I always find as a viewer watching the internal conflict is comical, but when you're in it, it's horrible, isn't it?
It's so draining, mate. Honestly, like I remember, like I said, when we're back with Moist Boys at Little Soul with obviously I've done that. There'll be days where like I haven't been in for like a day or two because I've been working, and as soon as I come in, like it's another war, or we're warring two people, or it's like there's gang conflict where, like, I don't know, Tommy and Beetle are like wanting to kill each other. Like, it was like you'd walk in, you're like, what has gone on here then? Because you just can't pick up the pieces. You just don't know what, and everyone's fed up and mentioning it, so you don't really get relayed much information. So you just kind of
Yeah.
stood
That's the
there.
really tough thing about roleplay, isn't it? Is especially being caught up in city with stuff you already kind of know. That's
Oh
a
yeah,
hard. Yeah, like I get incredible FOMO when you're not in, and that's one thing I really struggle with. Is you think, and often when we're not in, we're watching. You have to come in. You either have to listen to loads of bullshit that you already know, but your character
yeah,
needs to, and or this the case of it's been repeated. I get my guys that are with me, and that I'll tell one, I'll tell two, and then the third one, I'm like, just fuck off. Like,
yeah.
you know what's happened. Piss off. Leave me alone. I'm not doing this again.
No, I get what you mean. I'm the same though. To be fair, I get a little bit of FOMO. To be honest, so like when I'm on my breaks, I'm sat there with my the streams up, like watching it. So obviously I do then go into City thinking, right, well I do know this, but I obviously can't make out that I do know this. So
Mm.
then having to get it relayed to you, and sometimes they just don't relay it, and like, right, okay, but we have to just roll with it. And especially with like Moist and that, there's always something. Like if you
So
miss a
that,
day, you miss a lot.
yeah. And did you say this is your first roleplay server?
It is technically. I called it my first roleplay server. I was in P9 for like
Mm.
2 weeks just to basically get the gist of it, essentially. And then obviously when borders opened for the time too, I've been in there ever since, really. So.
And what brung you? What brung you in? What brung you into roleplay? Have you always been a gamer, or how did you end up into it?
So I've always been a bit of a gamer, mainly like COD and those types of games. But it was actually watching the likes of Ginge and Mona and Trev and stuff like that, all in Unique. Absolutely love Trev. He's funny as out. I just remember always watching them, always thinking that seems like a right laugh. And then you see it on social media as well, like on TikTok or wherever you're seeing it. So you see it all. So I saw that, and then I was actually quite close, or fairly close for you. Do you know DelBoy,
Yeah,
who's one of
yeah.
the owners of P9? Yeah.
I know. I've got a lot of time for DelBoy. I like him.
I myself and my brother have known him for years before he even got massive on Twitch.
Oh, really?
Um, yeah, so he originally streamed on Mixer.
Right.
I don't know if you ever knew about Mixer.
I've heard of it, but I don't know
Yeah,
much
it was
about it
back
now.
in the day. Like it's an old streaming platform. I don't think it's on there now. But he used to stream on there with my brother, who's a little bit older than me. So I knew him through that basically, and like I think if I went on his stream now and put like followage as a command, like I've been following for like 6, 7 years or something daft.
Is that how
Um,
long he's been streaming? Is it?
it's been a while. It's
Mm.
definitely been a while. I don't know the exact number, but I've been there. I'm definitely one of the OGs.
Yeah.
And if I ever go in there, it's like bloody hell, yeah, I haven't seen you in a while type thing.
I like DelBoy. He's a very, like we sort of discussed off street. Like he's a very down to earth guy. I have a
Yeah,
lot
it
of
is.
time for DelBoy.
It is.
He's a very very good man. He's a very good streamer as well. I like him. I like him a
He's
lot.
very good. He's very good. Because he's obviously DelBoy RP right now, isn't he?
Yeah.
It used to be called Chubmeister. I don't know if you know that.
Chubmeister.
Yeah, fun
I didn't
fact.
know that. I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
it used
No.
to be called Chubmeister. Always streamed FIFA and everything. Um, so you can always say that to him the next time you speak to him.
I didn't know that.
But no, yeah, really sound guy, and obviously he's one of the owners of P9. So um, I picked up back on kind of watching his streams again and kind of speaking to him about it all. And that's where I kind of took the leap of getting a PC, and I was like, you know what, I want to try it. So that's why I went in P9 for a few weeks to see how it was and get a kind of graph. And I actually played. Funny enough, actually, I brought him over to time two in like the first 3 weeks, something. I played Austin Powers.
Mm.
In like the first 2 or 3 weeks of when the borders opened. So did that in P9, and then obviously I saw obviously Ginge was doing a server, and that I thought you know what, might as well try it and just see how it goes. And then obviously I've been there ever since.
And you ended up in the biggest content creator gang in the server.
Yeah, you know what? That was, and I still sit here and go, how the hell have I managed that? Because in the grand scheme of things, I was basically like, I was a nobody. Like I wasn't anyone that they knew. It's not like I knew Abdul outside of City or anyone like that. None of them literally knew me at all. And it was a matter of the case where I was getting fed up of playing Austin Powers because I was like, I don't really know what direction to take because I've not really done this before. I was like, am I a sieve or am I just chilling? Like I didn't really get it. I was just kind of running around like a headless chicken, really, not knowing what to do. And I thought to myself, you know what? I'm just going to make another character and maybe just try and do gang life or be a Crim. So I made it. And I think it happened to be that prior to this, I was talking to, because it was in and around the time when Beat was leader of Moist. And I was like I think I was in Ketchup's or Mudski's chat. And I was just talking to him, like, I don't really know what to do, to be honest. And I think this is when Mudski wasn't as obviously high as he is now, viewership. So I was like, I don't really know what to do. I kind of want to make a Crim, but I wouldn't know how to go around it. And I just remember making the Crim. And then just literally, I was in there. I remember being sat outside the ammunition near PDM in a car. And I was just like, right, what do I do? And I think I had like maybe 3 viewers. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to put like an ad out. Just going to put an ad out, looking to work, wanting to help certain groups with whatever they want to do or whatever. And then all of a sudden, I believe Ketchup rang me. And I don't think Ketchup knew it was me. I hadn't told him that what my character's name was or anything like that. He just rang me and then he was like, come to apartments, or I'm going to give your number to someone, like come to apartments or whatever. And it actually happened to be that he passed it over to Abdul. And it was actually Abdul that brought me and Howie in, actually. We came in right at the exact same time. And it was funny because they picked us up, or he picked us up, and he had us in the car, me and Howie. And like at that point, I'd known of Abdul. So I knew of Abdul because of like Salim and like seeing him on like TikTok, and obviously I knew he was big. So I'm sat there in the car, like thinking, what the hell do I say? Like shivering in my boots a little bit, like, oh my god, what do I say? And he's just originally it was supposed to be that me and Howie were supposed to be a street team for Moist. But obviously you can't do that. And then as time went by, and obviously we started getting introduced to the gang members more, like Fumbles and Tommy and everything. At first I was like, who the fucking hell are these guys? Like, we don't know these people. As we started to get more into it and kind of helping them out a little bit more, that's where the likes of Doug and like Ketchum and that, I went, you know what? They've earned their stripes, like bring them into the full aspect of it. So, and then ever since then, it's just been grown massively. Like it's just nuts. I think I always say this to people. I think at the start of September, I was on like it was like 460 followers. I'm on like 1.3k now.
It's nuts, and like going back to say, like, surround yourself with Abdul, and it's very daunting, isn't it? Especially when you're not used to it, being surrounded.
Oh god, no.
You're kind of there, like, what do I say? What do I do? Like, Abdul's on 1,000, Salim averages 600 to 800, and Tommy 300-400, and then you end up around Angry Ginge on 10,000, and you're like,
mate, when I had to meet him for the first time, mate, I was absolutely like, I didn't know what to say. I was like the most nervous I think I've ever been. I was like, it's on a video game. Like, why can't I just speak? But to be fair though, when he was Doug, obviously leader in Morris, I didn't interact with him as much because FIFA had just come out as well, so he wasn't in as such a lot of the time. So I never got to interact with Doug a lot. But when we did, it was a laugh and stuff, so it wasn't too bad. I think Howie definitely got the better end of being with Doug and speaking to Doug and stuff like that. But I then got on with Abdul and because I was doing more the morning side of things again. So I was with Abdul and Fumballs, and so I built a really good connection with obviously those type of people. But now, I mean, now it's like I'm just like, cool, I'll just speak to you however I want, and like we just rip into each other, and it's just sound because we're used to each other now, so it's sweet.
You built a good group of friends, and luckily as well, content creators to a great level as well. It's crazy.
100%.
It's crazy in life where you end up, isn't it? Randomly.
Oh, it's absolutely mad, because like you say, Shano, I mean, I think Shano's probably streaming now. He's probably on like 150 to 200 viewers right now, and he's come a long way actually as well because he got partner. I'm actually, to be fair, out of all the lads, I'm proud of them all because since joining, Mud's got partner, Shano's got partner, Bombbox got partner,
Tommy as well.
Tommy got partner, yeah. I think that's all of them off the top of my head.
I think it might be, yeah, but it's a hell of an achievement, yeah.
Oh, massively. And like, especially Shano, because Shano said he's been trying to get partner for like
he's been streaming for he's been streaming for years. I think Bombbox has been going for a long time. So yeah, I mean, and like Tommy's done it in 3 months within streaming. Like that's
nuts.
That's an incredible achievement.
And he's doing so well, so well.
To get, I mean, some people do that for years, and I mean, we've said on podcasts as well, not to take away talent from anyone, but it's just a stroke of good luck for some people because the journey for partner can be ruthless, can be really tough.
Yeah.
And some people, Beetle did it as well, didn't he? Beetle got it as well. Beetle's partnered as well.
Was he not already a partner before?
No, he got that recently. He's been pushing for that for a long time.
Okay.
It's just,
I don't know why I had it. Oh no, yeah, you are right actually. I think it's because I just naturally assumed he already was, but yeah, no, I do remember him actually.
It's a good achievement because I think anyone that streams, whether you do it to friends, whether you do it as a job, I think everyone wants that tick. It's just recognition that you're doing your job well, and that tick says, okay, yeah, I'm not bad at this. You know,
it makes me laugh actually because like the likes of me, Spud, like basically the people who don't have ticks, we always take the mic, and we always say, especially Gaz. Did you ever meet Gaz in City?
Yeah, meat. What's his name? Meat Pie Mash or something, isn't it?
Yeah, Meat Pie Maze or something like that.
That's it. Yeah, Meat Pie Mash, Meat Pie Maze. Yeah, he always used to ring me up, and he knew that his character was annoying as fuck, but I always used to try and take the time to just 5-10 minutes to just let him waffle, and he used to love it.
I love him honestly. Like it's always good when like you're trying to insult each other in game, and you can just hear them sniggling because they haven't like let go of their voice box. Yeah. So it's like you can hear them sniggling. So we're just there, just like laughing to each other. He's hilarious, but we always say like, especially to Tommy, because he's so easy to rattle and so easy to wind up. So we'll be there like, oh, you've changed so much since you tick and all this stuff. And he just loses his head, and we're just laughing our heads off for it.
Tommy's very, very interesting to watch, isn't he? He knows himself. He's a very emotional gamer, and he is funny.
But it works for him. It completely works for him.
People love to wind him up, don't they, to get that emotion to show out?
They do. But at the end of the day, I'm proud of every single one of them because a lot of them I know that have been working for a long time have got what they've achieved. So it's a nice, positive thing to see, and to be a part of it, and to be a part of their kind of world, and to be even just in their kind of friendship group is a massive kind of honor, and I take that as a massive honor, definitely. Do you have any plans for the future with like streaming outside of like the fitness? Do you plan to incorporate it, like going back to the question earlier, but more along or do you just enjoy it while it's there, maybe? I definitely enjoy it whilst it's here, definitely. I mean, we all know if let's say I stop streaming now, I'll just lose it all instantly.
Yeah,
it's difficult. You have to maintain it, you have to keep going with it. I have said to myself a few times that if it got ever to the point where streaming just goes and goes well, then I wouldn't stop PT because I actually really love it. Like some days I'm obviously fucking just so draining, but for the most part, I love it because I really like helping people out and passing on knowledge, and allowing people to learn not only of what to do, but how to learn to be better themselves. So I would always have the PT aspect there, but it'd be a matter of do I maybe dial it down to 3 days I do PT or so on and so forth.
I
That's
think
something
it's
to become.
I think for like advice as well, which I can speak on behalf of, like it's always good to keep another source of income because to pay, depending on your bills and your expenses, maintain that streaming is really, really
Yeah,
tough. And you full-time streamers, you never know when you get paid unless you're steamrolling, doing really, really well.
yeah,
You could be breaking even, you could be having a bonus, but let's say 1 month you go over 1,000 of your target. So let's say that's your profit. You don't know if you're getting that next month. You don't know if you're 1,000 under. It's very, very tough because you never know when you're being paid. And sadly, you have to rely on generous viewers unless you're at an
yeah,
extreme level where your ad revenue will pay your bills, which I think is near on. It's a ridiculous level to be able to do that.
yeah, literally.
It's really, really hard, and it does take a lot out of it when you have to rely on the money. That's
Oh,
my own
100%.
personal opinion. It's a very, very sensible idea to maintain in your side hustle, and fitness will never disappear.
Well,
That's a
exactly,
good
yeah.
gaming will always it will always fluctuate, but also is Twitch going to be? I mean, look at December now. Most people's numbers are 50% of what they
Yeah,
were 2 months ago. It's a very, very volatile sort of industry. So it'd be very good to maintain what you do, and then, who knows, build an audience and branch out into.
exactly. I mean, in theory, you could go down the route, obviously, where I maintain the streaming side of things, and if I wanted to blend the two, where I'm if I'm doing RP, let's say for example, and the audience is there, maybe one day doing a fitness stream, or do you know what I mean? That kind of entangles both of them
Mm,
together. So it's definitely something I've thought about. Whether or not it'll happen or not, not too sure. But at the minute, I'm just kind of riding the wave, enjoying it, and getting the most out of it, as what I can. I mean, at the minute, the community I have, um, I love them all to pieces. They've got a lot of love for me, and I appreciate it massively. But being able to do my full time PT and then come and do this is a nice blend, definitely.
and how many days a week do you stream? Because you mentioned you work quite hard outside of that. How many days do you normally stream?
So I stream every Wednesday morning, Thursday. So like obviously today's my day off, so stream whenever. Um, Saturday afternoon and Sunday evening. So typically about 4 days. Some days though, and this varies. There's maybe days where, in terms of PT, I might not have my first PT session till like 3 o'clock. Then if that's the case, then I'll whack another stream on. Like I just allow it to hop on top of that. So sometimes it's a little bit more, but it varies. But for the most part, yeah, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, and Sundays.
So you have a good schedule and a very busy one by the sounds of it.
Yeah, so it does get busy, but at the moment I'm finding a good time to also allow myself to have that time with family and everything in between. So it at the minute it's working well, but there are days where I'm like I am actually shattered. So
Yeah.
I just listen to my body sometimes. I've got to the point now where there's certain days. So there's actually certain days where, like Tuesday evenings I'll come back and I won't stream, but I'll just be on and just playing.
Yeah.
So I like that kind of blend a little bit. So it might even be like tonight. I've streamed this morning, so tonight I'll just be on playing and just not worrying about streaming side of things.
It's so
Um,
nice to just play sometimes as well, isn't it? Because you haven't got to rush anything. If you want to sit in the fucking apartment for 10 minutes, or it doesn't
yeah,
matter. When you're streaming,
yeah,
you're like, go, 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 go,
yeah.
go.
But it's like actually the prime example is last night. So recently, Clay has been given access to the Coke Lab.
Yeah.
So last night I wasn't streaming. I just went in there and cut 5 bricks or listened to some music and just chilled.
Yeah.
It was quite nice just to do that sometimes. because as a content kind of view and the viewer's point of view, they wouldn't want to sit me cutting bricks for about an hour and a half, would they?
No.
So
That's what the morning streams are awesome though, because you have the time to chill as well. This is what I like about the mornings. You can do your shit like that, and whilst you're tapping away, you chat with your guys while they're chilling. I like that. That's why the morning streams are lovely, because you can do the shit that needs to be done, especially in a game that we play, our environment. There's a lot of crap stuff that needs to be done.
oh, it needs to be done. If you're not doing it, then you're probably not going to reap any benefits from it. Let's face it. I mean, I've said to this said to him in City recently that the likes of like Tommy and stuff like that, but this is nothing against them, but they will never be grinders. Like, it's not, they're not going to entertain 200-300 people by going and grinding on recyclables down in the sewers. It just won't work for them. So for them, their content is through stores, through I don't know, heists, whatever. But it's us in the morning that's allowed them to get that for all the stuff they need for the heists and stuff. So
that's a very good way to look at it, because, like you say, you're part of that crew, and you also the content creators, like you say, they need to actions, and especially in the server that Time 2 is, it can be tricky to get this stuff. You need people like yourself to assist these, and you also come to think, do a lot, because this stuff's not easy to get either. It takes time. It's not like you just go and buy it.
No, it's not.
Then more people like yourself in these morning streams go a long way, and maybe not reap the benefits as much as you should either.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, definitely. I mean, the way I see it is I grind in the morning, so I can allow for whether it's myself or anyone in between, but I grind in the morning to allow the content to happen in the evening.
Yeah.
Because, like you say, for, I don't know, a heist, let's say, you need the blueprints for like the wire cutters, you need thermite blueprints, and then you need all the materials to actually then build all that stuff. And getting that's not easy. That's a grind in itself.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to. I will be absolutely doing that all morning, but it allows me to then stream this. So I stream that side of things, but it allows me to speak to my chat. So for the most part, like this morning, first thing I did for like the first like 40 minutes was I was down in the sewers getting recyclables. But actually, in that time, I had songs playing, people talking in chat. We're all just talking to each other, having a bit of a laugh. But I'm still getting that grinding stuff in. Whereas, that needs to be done, and I allow that, and it works best for me to do it like that. Whereas, obviously, if I come into the evening, it's actually a weird shift. Like if I was to stream in the evening, and let's say like Tommy and that are still in, if it was a really chaotic bank heist or something like that, it's sometimes weird that actually like, and it might be because obviously everyone else is streaming in the evening, but I'd find that the actual content and the bank heist and stuff like that, people don't tune into me for.
No,
They prefer to kind of tune into me when I'm grinding or when I'm stuff like that.
I think people tend to go to the main source, I suppose, in the evening, aren't they? And a lot of people come home, and if you have their sole attention on the stream, that they want entertainment rather than distraction. So yeah, that, and again, if someone's got higher viewers, they will gravitate to that because they assume that's where the higher content is, isn't it? But yeah, no, I do get you. That's why you need to mix it up or something. Just fucking do something out of the ordinary. So everyone's like, what the fuck is this guy doing? I need to find out.
To be fair, though, there's been cases as well, though, where we've been in wars or something like that. So a prime example on this, I think, is where I started getting Clay started getting a lot more respect in Moist, is when we started warring ghosts. Don't know if you remember anything about it.
I remember the group. I don't know much about it now.
But there was a time, obviously, it was like Sundico and Ratface and all them in the group. And I can't remember what it was over, to be honest. We started warring them. It was probably over Salim, to be honest.
Probably.
But we started warring them, and I just remember they were trying to scrape our spray. And there were, I think most of them had been, what was it? Oh, that was it. we went to spin them. I wasn't involved in it, obviously, because at that time you could only have 5. So a load of them had gone to spin their block. They all got basically taken out, and they were all at hospital being dealt by the police. So in my head, I was like, "Oh shit! If they've been spun and they've been absolutely done in, that means they've got opportunity to come down here and scrape our spray." So in my head, I was like, "Right, what I'm going to do? I'm going to have to try and defend it in some way, shape, or form." So I ended up getting some like random like roof running attire on, so they didn't know it was me. And I think back then, especially, a lot of people didn't know clay was even in moist, so it was kind of to my advantage a little bit. And I remember radioing over saying they're down here, like they're going to scrape him, they're circling the block. It's just me. Like, can I get some assistance? And it happened to be that they were like, if they start scraping, you don't have to just go swinging. All I had was a bat, which everyone knows by now, at least anyway. Clay with a bat is like lethal. He's just an absolute animal with a bat. So I've gone down. They've started to scrape, and it was like, you know where the cubby entrance is. It was like the spray just above the cubby entrance. So you had to kind of get a vehicle to then climb onto like
Yeah.
the like kind of canopy, whatever you want to call it, to then obviously scrape it. So I've jumped on the truck to then obviously take out the person spraying, but then I've fallen off like an absolute idiot. And I turn around, and one of the ghost members there's got a gun at me, and he's just like holding at me, saying, "You don't move, don't move." And I'm there, like still like, oh shit, like I'm about to be done in here whilst they're scraping. All of a sudden, right, and I'll never forget this. Ketchup comes running around the corner. I think he was in his ghillie suit, and like I've never been so happy to see someone. But then Ketchup starts shooting the person scraping the spray. So the other person is a bit like, "Oh God, what's happening here?" So in that instance, I've just charged him and absolutely just decked him with the bat. Took him out. Luckily, Ketchup took out the person scraping the spray, I believe, and then I managed to run back into the cubby, and I think I took out. Oh no, that was it. Someone had taken out Tommy in the cubby, so I took them out whilst they were taking out Tommy with another bat, and they all had guns. So I was like, just absolutely swinging at everyone. So I took them out, and then you know the big roof in that kind of cubby area. Tommy was down. I was like, I'm gonna have to leave him here, because if another person rocks up while I'm trying to move him, I'm absolutely screwed. So I kind of left him there with this other person, and I went up that ladder, and I was giving comms saying, "Oh, they're coming in, blah blah blah." All of a sudden, another ghost vehicle comes in the cubby, and then they come round trying to search Tommy. And like as they've come out the car, I've seen, and I've just gone shooting down the ladders. And as soon as he's starting to search Tommy, he's seen me running, and it was almost that moment where he knows he was absolutely screwed. And he managed to like get out from searching Tommy, and at that point I've just absolutely nailed him with a bat. I think he did like a backflip. I hit him that hard. And I just remember hearing Tommy just shouting at me like, "Go on, Clay, hit him, hit him, hit him." And at that point, I took out 3 of them and essentially stopped them from scraping our block.
And that was the come up of Clay.
Yeah, and obviously in that moment, I think I went from like maybe 5 viewers up to like 40, all just coming in going, "Oh my God, that was unreal. Like, you saved the block," like everything like this. So that was definitely the come up of Clay. And then just since then, it's just been like little kind of bits and bobs, like people coming in, noticing that I'm grinding or helping the gang, or in other wars or other situations, helping them out or back in the beef. So
it's nice. It's nice in content creating, in it, where something so small can have such a huge. This is my
massive.
big passion for role play. You never know what's going to happen and what can change in game and out of game. And like you say, that small instance where everyone else is buggered and you're on your own, like, ah, shit. And then look what happens. And like you say, you can get a lot of people coming over then that might potentially stay, which hopefully do.
And a lot of them have.
It's fascinating what happens in content from such a small interaction in a video game, isn't it?
Oh, it's incredible. Like, I never expected these small little things to accumulate to obviously big obviously things. For another prime example is when we were obviously we're at a war in the firm. And
Mm.
when we come down to your block, I'm not a shooter by any means, and it's probably something I need to practice on. But just that firm shootout at your block, which was like that lasted a while as well, if I remember rightly.
Yeah.
Um, and obviously you ended up taking us all out, but I think there was like 3 or 4 of us, and there was only like 2 of our best shooters.
Yeah.
But it was a really, really good shootout. And just from that, I think I uploaded my kind of POV onto TikTok, and then all of a sudden people coming over talk to me about that, and it just goes a long way. These like little interactions, whether it is me grinding. So I've been getting a lot more interactions recently as well, because I've taken more of the lead on like the coke side of things for Moist and that side of things. So people are tuning in, it's getting to see what the connections I'm making are and stuff like that. So it is these small interactions that make a massive, massive difference, and it's nice to see from my point of view, and I assume obviously from the viewers as well.
No, it's good, and yeah, it's good that you're progressing and moving on to bigger and better things, and getting the viewers, and hopefully a different aspect. You know what I mean? It's awesome to
Oh
see.
yeah, gotcha.
No, it is good. It's good. Well, ADF, thank you very much for joining me today, and I
Absolute
hope
pleasure.
that I found it very, very insightful, and I hope the viewers as well do. For someone that spends a lot of there you go. What a perfect time. For they're not going to shut up though, are they? No, it's very insightful for the health and fitness side of things.
Yeah.
And I hope that the viewers will take a lot of information from it upon themselves, and hopefully maybe one person, 10 people, who knows, will look at this and take a bit of advice and go, yeah, maybe I should start doing this. Maybe I should do them steps and stuff like that.
Yeah, 100%. And that would be a massive thing from me. If someone can just take one little thing that I've said or one little thing we've spoke about and runs with it and it works for them, to me that's a win. At the end of the day, it's all about sharing knowledge and helping each other out. So yeah, if anyone is listening and this has helped you, then let us know.
Perfect. Thank you very much, mate. I appreciate you coming on.
Absolute honour, mate. My pleasure.